Hey, everybody. It's Everett with Ohio for Freedom. I hope you're having a happy Saturday evening on the 20th of December, 2025. I'm coming on here for a part two of a live that we did on the 19th, Friday night. And somehow about 40 minutes into it, we had a freeze up that everything just froze, which is okay, except there was some good information on the table provided by my very dear friend and sister in the Lord, Torgrimson of Maniacs. So in this part two, we're gonna give you that last 20 minutes or so. And I just felt like I really wanted to do that regarding the appearance of Rod Parsley on Joni Lamb's Daystar network. So I'm going to get right into that, except I will say that if you'd like to support the program, it's very much appreciated, and you can easily do so by going to ohioforfreedom.com, and you can use any card that you like to use when you do things online, MasterCard, Visa, American Express, Discover, and of course we have a PayPal link, and we have a Zelle link. Before we get into the interview, however, there is an email that I want to touch on, if I might. So I think it was Thursday, we did an episode where we dealt with this perfected moments thing that Robin Bullock does, which is it's not scriptural. It's and it's part of this. It was used in one of his fear funnel type of services. Okay, now. I want to read what this email came in from from Mo, who is a pretty regular, communicates with us pretty regularly from Arizona. Let me just read the email. Everett, when I Googled perfected time, I didn't find much, so I just added the word Kabbalah, and I got this. So it says that special attention is given to the key mythic motifs that underlie Sabbath observance, the Sabbath as a source of cosmic blessing, the Sabbath as perfected time. So I'll read a little bit further into the email. So I'm wondering if that isn't some kind of alternative to salvation that Bullock is trying to teach. When I look up those terms in Kabbalah, it gets heavy occult and downright sickening about the divine feminine being the cosmic soul. So I'm pretty sure when Bullock talks about perfected time, he's referring to the Kabbalah teaching on this. I really pray people get completely away from this false religion in Jesus' wonderful name. And I just want to read that email because absolutely. Robin Bullock is so steeped in these mystic and the Jewish mysticism and Kabbalah. He doesn't always give it away by using the outright Kabbalah terms, but it's the Kabbalah methodology. In other words, perfected moments, absolutely not biblical, and absolutely Jewish mysticism, occultic Kabbalah influenced and incubated 1,000%. I'm going to play what's left of this interview with Robin regarding Rod Parsley and Joni Lamb, and I will tell you at the end of this interview, I have some bonus material regarding said Rod Parsley. And without further ado, let's get back into the remainder of the interview with Robin. You knew that it was going to come up sooner or later. This is something. We'll try this again. Here we go. Fortunately, Rob, you and I know a little bit about. Let me play this.
To Norval Hayes and John Osteen and all these great. You have to tell Lester Sumrall story.
Oh, Dr.
You know, I loved him. I used to,
Yes.
in my 20s, I would watch him teach.
Yes,
he was one of the greatest Bible teachers.
Yes, one of the pioneers of Christian television as well.
Okay, Robin, you know I got the clip ready to go, but do you have any comments so far?
Well, it's just you just have to roll your eyes because they just worship men, and then they want men to worship them. I mean, that's just how it goes. I mean, it's so weird that he is so enamored with Lester Sumrall.
Well, And again, it's like from the start of this whole appearance, the fake testimony, 17 years of age, starting this, that ain't the real story. And then the thing that got him into being a Pentecostal faith healing preacher, that's a lie. The fruit of it is that that's a lie. So now they're back to Lester Summerall. I guess I will just play the clip that brings it home. And here we go.
I have a sword here. With a Nazi emblem on it, so strong. The swastika. And as you can see, it's been used in war. See the swastika right there? Like this. This, I would say, was an officer's sword, worn for parades and things like that. Now, we could use either of these to bless these with. We could use the gleaming sword.
I don't know if I have to play all of it. Let me fast forward this a little bit.
The type of sword that we need right now. And so if you don't mind,
I've not heard this.
I'll just lay that sword to one side. Here is a swastika sword. And it's in bad shape. It has been used. There are no names on it because common soldiers didn't get names on their swords. It's a deadly weapon, and many may have died.
Robin, you and I are familiar with this, but for the benefit of someone out there that has never seen this before, fill us in, please.
Well, and I want to mention something that I noticed this time that I had never noticed before was when he was going to set those swords down, the one with the swastika on it, if you watch, he's very careful on how he lays it on the pulpit, right? But when he's done kind of showing the officer's sword that had not been used and blood covered, he just tosses it on the floor like that thing, isn't good for anything. So I had never noticed that before. But as far as this sword ceremony, apparently this is something that they believe in when they are kind of passing the mantle. They do this sword ceremony, and with Rod's, apparently he had to have this sword with a swastika that he was gonna, it's almost like you're getting knighted or something, and that's how that's their how they're showing that you're kind of going on to the next level, if you will.
When you and I believe Marianne helped us in that first episode, man, that was over a year ago, and we showed this. I put it this way. I have repeatedly referred to this as a Freemason-like occultic sword ceremony. Is that a fair characterization, or am I
would say that's definitely fair. Yeah. Especially what we've learned since we've started seeing all of these things and then doing our own independent investigations into Freemasonry just as it is. And then you start seeing many, many similarities.
In other words, there really ain't no justification for having I think this sword has killed Allied soldiers before, Nazi sword. There's no way to Christianize and sanctify that and make that in any way righteous or holy, is there?
No, absolutely not. But the other strange thing that we did not know until we played these clips was that I know you've talked to several people, and I think the same, I've talked to the same people, but they said they were sitting in that service and they don't remember any of that. How is that? How were you sitting there and you do not recall that sword ceremony happening?
Well, because of witchcraft and
Right.
occultism.
That's
And
right.
I didn't have time to pull the clips, but in case there's one of those brand new people in another country somewhere, or somebody that's seeing this for the first time, what I'm going to say next might shock you, and you feel free to throw rocks, but don't throw rocks at your screen. That won't help. You can be mad at me. At least in the later part of his life, Lester Summerall acted as a warlock.
Yeah.
We could play the clips, Robin, where he is commanding people to die.
Yes.
He was cursing the China bank or something like that. What was
Yeah,
it? What
the
was he doing?
bank. Yeah, his son's business. There was something going on with the bank and a loan, and he cursed them to die.
Yeah. And it's just real simple. It doesn't really take much thought. No, you're not allowed to curse. The Bible doesn't just like lift out certain sections for you because you pioneered something on television. So, but see, it's what this is what stuck out with me about this appearance with Rod Parsley. It's like the whole fake narrative that he has pushed from the very beginning. Joni's just there to help him push it. Oh, and the other thing, can you comment on this? Are Joni and Rod necessarily good buds, or are they just desperate and they need each other in this desperate time? Do you know where I'm going with that?
My understanding is that no, they do not, especially Joni is not fond of Rod at all. And it seems like Marcus Lamb was more fond of Rod because when Marcus Lamb passed away, Rod Parsley lost his 10:30 a.m. spot or whatever this prime spot was on Daystar, and Joni moved it because she didn't want to give Rod the prime time anymore.
And let's say that one more time, just so people realize. Rod Parsley has a single half-hour spot on Fridays. By the way, is that spot making any money for him?
I don't think so. It looks to the financials that I have seen, it appears that they are losing money hand over fist, especially with broadcasting and how much money they have to pay to be on TV. But my understanding is that the Daystar spots have gotten a lot more affordable after their scandal as well. So maybe
Right.
Rod can afford it now.
Right. And so you have on very, very good authority from someone that you interviewed, but right after Marcus passed.
Wayne Hasselou. Yeah.
Okay. So just tell me if I'm pretty accurate in stating it this way. One of the first executive decisions that Joni made was to boot Rod Parsley from one of the preferred spots. Is that true? Is that accurate?
Yes, that's accurate. And then that was the first time that Wayne worked there for 25 years in a very executive type of position. Even if he didn't have the title, he was in all of the meetings and involved in all of those conversations. And hold on one second. It's okay.
She's on a podcast.
Babe.
I'm sure.
Yeah, you cannot be outside without a coat on. Hold on.
I remember those days.
Okay, I'm back, Everett. Sorry.
There's no problem. Okay. Laura Lynn wants to play a clip from this, so that'll be good.
Okay.
Let's resume. We were talking about
Wayne Hasselou. So Wayne he'd worked at World Harvest for 25 years, very executive level type of position, even if he was not in those or not the title, but he was definitely in those meetings. And
right.
he said that after Daystar called or Joni had made this executive decision that Rod was losing that time slot, that Wayne said that was the first time that he had ever heard Rod or the Parsleys talk badly about Joni and Marcus Lamb, and or Joni to the very least, because Marcus had already passed away.
So this whole exchange, it makes it look real fake and phony, doesn't it?
Everything that they do is fake and phony. They don't know how to be real, genuine people. Everything is put on, and when they are real, genuine themselves, when the cameras are off and it's behind closed doors, they're horrible people.
All right. It'll get better, though, because they had Rodney preach a little bit, and I have a very moving clip from there, and it'll probably restore our faith, and it'll just be a good thing. Here we go.
Christian orthodoxy of the past few decades has been insulted and mocked. It's been renamed and rebranded. It's been neglected and abandoned, left as a relic on the ash heap of a culture-pleasing, user-friendly, emerging church. Well, frankly, what I've seen emerging is but a shadow of the true gospel of Jesus Christ. Modern pastors, misguided in morality, deficient in doctrine, and often derelict to their duty, speak in silly, smiling, juvenile tones about...
Robin, there's about another minute of this and we can play it, but I was listening in prep, and I got to tell you, I stopped the phone and screenshotted right at this moment when I heard the words misguided in morality.
Mm-hmm.
Can you think of any reason why that might have caught my attention, misguided in morality?
Well, certainly it is talking misguided in morality would definitely describe his daughter, but it also describes him. They are the things that they preach against and rebuke other people for is the very behavior that they're involved in and perpetrating themselves when the cameras aren't on.
Yep. And we just don't have time. We're running out of time to talk about the affairs with married men, the affairs with other women on the part of the daughter, and him continuing to platform that, the drug use,
the alcohol use, the partying, the same-sex interactions with Valor students, the absolute illegal and predator behavior when she was in her late 20s and she was having an inappropriate sexual relationship with a boy that was in Harvest Prep, which is their K through 12 school. They are just horrible, evil people, in my opinion.
I can't say as I disagree. I'm going to play the...
About everything except what King Jesus said warranted the greatest emphasis. Oh, there's a proliferation of preachers professing to be Pentecostal.
Did you know that there's a proliferation of preachers professing to be Pentacle. Is he trying to do, what is that, alliteration, or what do you call that? I mean, like,
Yeah. I don't know exactly what it's called, but it's dramatic theatrics to garner emotions out of people. But the way that they speak, the not just the tone, but the phrasing that they use, because they're very big on having like little catchphrases that they throw out here and there, and you better quote your pastor kind of deal. And even the music that they play, it gets people, in a mind frame, and or maybe out of their mind frame, because people almost become just brainwashed, and like they're under hypnosis when they get around these people, and they are not aware of what is actually happening.
well, this preaching segment was so moving. I'll let it play for about a minute, and you will find that people were so moved, they clapped. Robin, people clapped that weren't even there to clap. It's amazing.
But their poverty of power exposes them and the faux gospel. Success in life sermons are better suited for self-help seminars than Pentecostal pulpits. Entertainment has become more valued than appealing to lost and dying souls. The gift of gab has replaced the gifts of the Holy Spirit. Smooth oratory has supplanted stammering lips possessed by the Holy Ghost, proclaiming God's power to save, to heal, and to deliver. The gospel, you see.
Robin, I told you, people clapped that weren't even there.
I didn't hear any.
You couldn't hear. You couldn't hear.
No,
the
I didn't hear it. I was waiting. I was waiting to hear it.
Oh, now wait, I'll play it. No, they dub in the fake clapping.
Oratory has supplanted stammering lips possessed by the Holy Ghost, proclaiming God's power to save, to heal, and to deliver. The gospel, you see.
You can't hear it? That's right there.
I can't hear it.
Okay, well, it's your headset or something. No, I was making a joke. It's the dubbed in, faked in, fake.
Oh yeah,
applause.
yeah. I'm not shocked. Yeah, I'm not shocked.
Yeah. Well, Robin, that's what I pulled from that. We don't. You've done episodes and episodes, and I've done episodes, so I don't want to just, harp on the same thing over and over and over. But how can we sum this appearance up? Is there anything real or genuine about it, or what are your thoughts?
I mean, I would say that I think you're starting to see the more and more desperation and the need to try to push themselves back up the ladder, if at all possible. And I'm talking not just about Rod Parsley. I think the same is true for Daystar, is that people are, they're getting wise to the schemes, they're getting wise to the games, and people aren't going to just sit back and take it anymore and be manipulated and robbed blind by these people. And they're selling a Bible and a gospel that isn't real, and they want these people, they want the attention, they want the money, they want the accolades, they want the control, and there's all the theatrics and drama that you can even imagine, but there is absolutely zero genuine realness, any fruits of the Spirit. There's none of that.
Yeah. You know what? We haven't talked about Terry Kelly and victims of Terry Kelly. We haven't talked about accreditation. I guess we're not done talking about this, but maybe that'll be enough for today. Any final words before I let you go?
I don't think so.
Well, Robin, I'm going to wish you and yours a very, very, very Merry Christmas. And thank you so much for joining us. All right.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Rob. All right.
Thank you.
Thanks. Okay. Bye-bye. And there is that interview. There it is. And how did you like that long pause when Robin had to get up? But I'm glad we got that out there. Okay, I said that there would be a bonus, if you can call this a bonus, and we alluded to it in the very, very, very closing moments of that interview. But I want to set this up just a little bit. The overlooking of SA and CSA and the cover up, it's just astounding. And what Joni Lamb on her network, what she is willing to cover up and overlook, is not going to detail it. It's just astounding. Well, she had Rod Parsley on. Here's something about Rod Parsley's World Harvest Church that you may not be aware of. So let me just dive right in. And so you're looking at a letter that's dated January 6, 2005. And it's written to Dear Pastor Parsley. It is after much prayer and consideration that I've decided to write you this letter. First and foremost, I want you to know from my heart, I have no ulterior motive in writing you other than to inform you of a situation that occurred while I worked in we blacked out a certain department of World Harvest Church. No one knew until recently. Thanks to God for his healing power, I have been freed from the pain and shame of my past, and now hope that my coming forward will prevent listen to this, another child from being a victim of molestation. So this is a letter that was written by a young lady by then in her 20s, as she is just beginning to come to grips with being molested from the age of 13 to 17 at World Harvest Church by an elder at World Harvest Church. And I'll say the elder's name, Terry Kelly, is the allegation. And Terry Kelly would allegedly actually take this young lady off premises. And by the way, she was hired. She was working for the church at the age of 13, when, according to Ohio labor laws, you can't even hire a 13-year-old. But okay, but I digress. But this went on from age 13 to 17. And look how this poor, dear soul, when they've finally getting enough strength to deal with this horrific tragedy in their life, I have been freed from the pain and shame of my past. Well, any shame belongs to Rod Parsley and belongs to the church that facilitated this and covered it up, and hope that my coming forward will prevent another child from being a victim of molestation. So thank God you can see the courage that's coming forth in this young lady's heart and life. But there's a long way to go yet, because there's no shame on her part. She was a victim. The molestation went on for the duration of my employment at the church. It only stopped because I resigned my position to pursue my studies, and an injury made the job extremely difficult. I did not make the situation known to anyone at the time because I was afraid and did not think anyone would believe me. In my mind, he was a respected elder of the church, and I was just a kid. How typical does all this sound? I only told about the molestation when the effects began to take its toll on my emotional and physical health, and I sought the help of a psychologist, and with their assistance have been able to come to grips with the reality of what was done to me. It was only at this time that I told, and she confided to another person in the church. I'm just going to read the letter. I know the integrity of the ministry. And I want to say this individual, and Robin has spoken to this individual who was doing well. This was a long time ago. Vanessa Johnson has spoken to this individual, and they are extremely courageous. And but I want to point something out. At this time, they didn't have people to talk to like Vanessa Johnson and like Robin Torgrimson. And I'm, to a certain extent, whoever they talked to probably meant well. But when you read this letter, you see there's almost an apologetic quality. Because see, the victim talked to someone to help coach them to write the letter. But it's like this letter goes out of its way. Oh, I'm so sorry, Pastor Parsley, to bring this up. I know you would never allow this. Please don't be mad at me for bringing it. It's really sad. I know the integrity of the ministry. I know you would have never allowed nor condoned such behavior from any of your employees, church members, and especially not your elders. Well, unfortunately, you would think that would be true, but it's not. And when the young lady wrote the letter, she certainly thought that was true, but it's not. A year ago, I couldn't have said this, but listen to this. She's saying, I am willing to face, and she names her perpetrator, if you need me to, Pastor. Gosh, this hurts for me to read, because she is still referring to Rod Parsley. And we got a couple more screenshots that we haven't gotten to yet. I'm willing. So this young lady is willing to face the person that stole her childhood from her. She's willing to face him. I don't think any responsible counselor would recommend that. The court would not force that on anybody. But she was willing to do that. And she's still calling Rod Parsley, who's never sat down and talked with her ever, Pastor, as long as someone can be with me. I just don't want this to happen again to someone else, because in fear and shame, I kept quiet. Again, Pastor. Ooh, it hurts for me to hear this. Ooh. It hurts for me to hear someone refer to Rod. Again, Pastor, like it's a first name or something. Please know, I am not seeking anything from you or the church. I just felt the responsibility to make you aware. I wish their attitude had been far different back then. I think statute of limitations comes to bear here, and a lot of different things. I wish this young lady would have sued the door shut on that place. I felt the responsibility to make you aware. I would hate, listen to this, I would hate for reproach to be brought on the ministry who employs such a person unknowingly. See, the problem is there was a whole lot of knowing that was going on at World Harvest Church. This is a very difficult letter to write, but it was the final step in going on with my life. I think that statement is written a little bit over optimistically, but again, people have spoken with this victim, and God bless her. I think she's going on with her life, and this is like way in the rear view mirror. But see, let me say this: Joni Lamb platformed a dude that was perfectly fine with this young lady's life and her childhood being ripped out and stolen from her. And let's just show you. So this happened in the mid-90s. The letter was dated January 6, 2005. And I'll finish reading the letter. As I stated above, I've kept this information private except for, she names some names. I'm asking that you use the same discretion with this information, sharing it only with those who need to know in order to remedy what needs to be repaired. Now, I cropped the screenshots. There's a part of the letter, if you look at the top there, you can see that there's a part that's covered over, that's blacked out, and that's because there was some detail that she went into that we are not going to get into in the air. So this is what happened after she sent that letter. Rod Parsley's secretary executive assistant, writes a lot of his sermons, just like way more than a regular secretary. Her name is Joanna Ridgway. They call her Tweet. So Tweet responded after this young lady got up the courage. She was molested from age 13 to 17 by an elder in the church, gets counseling and finally gets the courage and sends this letter, almost this apologetic letter, to Rod Parsley. And this is how Rod Parsley responds. He responds through Tweet. So Tweet sent this email to the victim. Good afternoon. And the victim's name is blacked out. Let's say again how good it was to see you and your mother a few weeks ago. Please be sure to tell your dad I was sorry I didn't get to see him as well. Exclamation point. I'm sending the following message to you on behalf of Pastor Parsley. So please, everybody, I want you to, if you can, try to make sure you're seated and have a Kleenex handy because you're for the emotional response that you know you're going to experience when you hear this message on behalf of Pastor Parsley. I've copied Miss Carter on this email so that you may contact her by email, or you may contact her by phone at, part of the number's blacked out, extension 324, to arrange for a meeting. She's indicated she can be very flexible to the time or location of the meeting. If you have further questions, please advise. I look forward to hearing back from you. So the way that Rod Parsley responded to this young lady that was the R word and the SA word, and from age 13 to 17 at his church at the hands of an elder of his that he kept on staff. That's the way Rod Parsley responded. And when we released this information on the 11th of September, 2024, Robin and I did. She came on my program and we released it, talked about it. She also, the night before she did. I had sent all those screenshots to a number of people around the country. One of those people was Alan DiDio. Why? Because Alan DiDio is a bishop in the World Harvest cult. And now I've since learned that absolutely 1,000% is a cult because they've sworn an oath to Rod Parsley. Okay, so Alan DiDio is a bishop in a cult. Okay, but I didn't know that he was that I could full-fledged call it a cult at the time, and I sent all of that information to Alan DiDio, and I called and spoke to their administrative office. And you know, just there's a little part of you that thinks some of these people are going to get Rod Parsley, get him sat down and say, dude, what did you do about this? What are you going to do about this? But no, what do? They cover up. They do nothing. They pretend it doesn't exist. And so Parsley's still on Daystar. Joni still has him on. Alan Doo-Doo gets on Daystar. Alan Doo-Doo doesn't do anything. They all cover for each other. And then I have one other small little bonus that I'm going to give. Don't know how this turned out, but this letter is dated the 21st of 2025. And if you'll notice, the top of the letterhead is ABHE. Valor Christian College, which is the World Harvest, their Bible college, is actually in some hot water with the ABHE Commission on Accreditation, because they've had some complaints filed about them regarding the mold in the facilities and some other things. They had to have a response by the 15th of December. And who knows, they may wriggle their way out of it again. But it's not all as well at Valor Christian College. But I think I can call this a wrap. And I want to say thank you to my dear friend, once again, Robin, for coming on. Sorry that your interview or the segment that we did froze. So I wanted to make it right and come back on. And so, folks, if you'd like to support the program, please visit ohioforfreedom.com. And please consider using our PayPal, our bank card link, or our Zelle link. And I will tell you that we will have a busy week coming up. I know there's the holiday coming up, but we will be very busy. And so until next time, God bless you. God bless your family. God bless the state of Ohio, where the program originates. God bless the United States of America. And we send our greetings out throughout the world. Good night, y'all.
I hear the sweet